this thing going. First up will be Senate Bill 114, Senator Robinson, if you want to come up and present your bill. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, I consider Senate Bill 114 just a continuation of the criminal justice reform that started many years ago here in Georgia. Not only to make our justice system more cost effective, but to also drill down and discover what true recidivism, rehabilitation is. And so what I've attempted to do here, and most of the legislation I carry is constituent driven. I had a HVAC company that I've worked with for over 30 years that took care of me and a lot of our properties in Columbus with the Muscogee County Sheriff's Office and the consolidated government. And his son ended up having, his son had multiple certifications in the business, but several years past became addicted to meth, went to prison as a first offender, spent 2 years in prison where he was the HVAC. He was responsible for all HVAC at the prison he was in down in Brunswick. And then when he got out, his father had started aging and had gotten ill and was looking at the processes of turning the company over to his son. And as his son started the application process and working with the test proctor with the state, discovered that he was unable to get his license because he was still under supervision as a convicted felon. So the father reached out to me. I've called over to Macon, spoke to some individuals over there and asked about the process, and they explained it to me very clearly. And so when I sat down with our wise attorneys in Ledge Council, we discussed the safest way we felt that we could provide for these individuals once they are released from being held inside of a prison, even though they were still being supervised, that they could use the licenses that they've had and apply for licenses that they did not have, as long as those licenses were not in areas that were related to the crime for which they were convicted and incarcerated for. So if you, I'm looking at LC 364607, and if you look at line 29 through 34, what we've done is stated that even if the person is under supervision, they are not prevented from using their license as long as they are not a convicted felon in a violation of Chapter 5, which we all know are the murders, the sexual crimes, the more serious crimes, and that they are not a part of any sex offender registry that for those that are required to register here in Georgia. Basically, it's just giving those individuals who receive training, which Department of Correction does teach HVAC training inside, gives these individuals, when they are released and on community supervision, the opportunity to become productive parts of the workforce and hopefully not reoffend.
All right. So second chance bill.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Not a bad idea. Do we have any questions from anyone? Oh, okay. Excuse me. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does this pertain to all professional license divisions in the state? Is anybody excluded, or does it pertain to funeral directors specifically is what I'm looking at, or other people that are?
Yeah, yes, sir.
licensed?
Yes, sir. When I was creating this, and I'll use a funeral director as an example, if I carry a post certification as a law enforcement officer. If I use that certification to commit a felony and I go to prison, when I get out, I cannot reapply for my post certification back. But if there are programs out there that allow me in and I can get the education and apply for a funeral director's license, and the crime I was incarcerated had absolutely nothing to do with that career field, then I would be able to obtain the license. Now, whether a funeral home would want to hire me, that would be entirely up to them. But it just doesn't prevent me from going out there and obtaining the certifications and the licensing to do that if I can find the job.
Could I follow up?
Sure.
But if you were a funeral director and you got onto meth or something and you went to prison for that, then you got out, then you could reapply for your license, get them reinstated and go back to practicing.
Correct. If the charge was for possession of meth, then yes, sir. But if the charge and you remember many years ago, we had an issue with a funeral home here in Georgia. If because of your addiction to meth, you defrauded people through your business as a funeral director and everything like that, you would be excluded from that license.
Right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good bill.
Thank you, Mr. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Representative Washburn.
No question.
No question? Okay.
Ready, Jackson's coming online.
I'm sorry.
Representative Jackson's coming online.
Okay. Does he have a question?
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like the bill, but I just have a couple of questions, Mr. Chairman, if I could. So I'm trying to think of a scenario where a person that needs a second chance that can't already apply to an occupation regardless to industry or apply to a license as long as they have the applicable qualifications. And I just can't come up with a scenario. I know you just gave the funeral director scenario, but I can't think of a scenario where someone that's looking to get a second chance after they pay back their debt to society. I just don't see the applicability of this bill as it relates to an occupation or a license. Can you give me one?
Yes, sir. And I don't know if you heard when I first started my presentation, this bill came directly from a constituent who was certified as an HVAC, had multiple certifications in HVAC and ended up becoming addicted to meth. And was charged with a felony, went to prison when he got out and went to further his certification so that he could take over his father's 30-year-long company. He was denied by the state because he was under community supervision. And if you're a convicted felon under community supervision, you cannot test nor apply for the professional license in HVAC so that you could go on and earning the money that a certified HVAC operator would get. At best, he could have gotten on as a laborer at $9.15, $10 an hour, even though his training and experience put him in a much higher level than that.
Right. So no, and I heard that, but I'm just saying, so will this bill circumnavigate that particular law that's in place for?
Yeah.
It looks like it for a reason.
Yes, sir. It would prevent the board from denying based solely on the fact that the individual is under community supervision. And for another example too, we currently have a all-female fire department in a prison in North Georgia that serves not only the prison, but also the surrounding communities. And it would give these ladies the opportunity. It's one of the only all-female fire departments in the country. It would give these ladies also the opportunity when they got out, even under community supervision, to be able to use and apply for a license and hopefully be hired by a fire department.
So one more follow-up, Mr. Chair, if I could. So would it be better served for Georgia and Georgians for us to eradicate the existing law that impedes Georgians that opportunity to where we wouldn't even need a bill that you're proposing to this august body?
Well, sir, you're asking me a question outside of the scope I looked at, but based on my experience, no, sir, I don't believe so, because I do believe there are some individuals that no matter what the charge, 97% of the individuals I encountered throughout my career were good people who made poor decisions, but there is a small percentage that if they got out and were able to get licenses in certain areas that would put them in the position to commit even more crimes and in some places much worse crimes. I think this is So I think the law that's currently on the books performs the way it should, with the exception of the community supervision part. I think that is a hurdle that this in contributing to your community, when your community supervision officer comes by, which you would have to be the best person they have on their list, probably, you're there being a productive citizen and following all the rules and merging yourself back into society.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
At the proper time, just like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to pass.
Here a second. All those in favor of, say aye.
You want to do an amendment? Ask for any amendments first.
Oh, okay. Do we have any amendments? I don't think so. Oh, let me ask you also, is anyone here to speak to this bill? We sort of jumped out quickly. Everybody okay? All right. All those, let's do it again. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Your bill passes.
Mr. Chairman,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Ledge Council for all their hard work and support through this process. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you. Senator Thompson, we're going to hear SB 27 today. We're not going to hear SB 45. Go ahead on 27.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's a pretty straightforward bill. Senate Bill 27 is occupational licenses for veterans. You look in a summary, what it does, it extends the time period in which a current or former service member must apply for issuance of a license as an electric contractor, journeyman plumber, air conditioned contractor, or utility foreman. Currently, under law, they're provided 180 days to be able to secure that. And especially with the pandemic and some other situations, we want to extend that, as other states, to 2 years.
Any questions? Gee, any questions online? You did a wonderful job, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
They might be voting yes, but they might have a question. I don't think that's clear.
is there a question online? I can't see from my Kirby.
They both just said, yeah, I'm not sure if they were saying that was their vote or if they have a question. Zoom.
Okay. Representative Kirby, do you have a question?
No, that was the vote from the last bill.
Oh, okay.
Just wanted to be sure.
All right. All right. Well, hearing no questions, no testimony from anyone out, no amendments. I hear a motion to pass. Second, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Senator Thompson.
Thank you,
got your
Mr.
bill.
Chairman. And thank you to the committee, and thank you also to Mark for helping with this.
That's the end of today's committee. Thank you for